everybody, welcome to my homestead and welcome to my channel. My name is Jared. In this video, we are going to be talking about Betelgeuse, which is this star. It's part of the Orion constellation. Here's Orion's belt, and Betelgeuse, and that is how it's pronounced, is basically the right shoulder of Orion. Okay, if we look at this depiction of it right here. Okay, this is a star that we've talked about a lot because there's been a lot going on with it in recent years, and also going all the way back to the time of Christ. So it appears that it's dimming again. And I don't know if this is going to turn into another great dimming, but I'm going to show you, I'm going to get you caught up on everything that's happened with it. And then we're going to talk about this dimming that's taking place right now. So before we do that, I quickly want to share with you, I got an email from Anonymous. Hey, Jared, you may have already seen this since it came out on Monday, but just in case, I thought I'd share it. It's in Hebrew, but there are subtitles. It gives some background on the red heifer mitzvah. Mitzvah is commandment, and explains what they need to accomplish in order to perform it, as well as some interesting examples of mitzvah they currently can't perform without the red heifer. I learned quite a bit from it and was able to draw some interesting parallels, particularly about being titled in preparation for the day of burning. I think you'll like it. No credit needed, and I'll take that to mean anonymous. So, Anonymous is referring to this video. This is with Eliyahu Berkowitz. He's the guy that I interviewed. Gosh, was it only a year ago? Hold on, let me click on this. July 12th of 2022. This is when I first started talking to Israel 365. They offered me an interview with him, and we had a good chat. In fact, we talked about the red heifers. I'll put the link for this video in the description box below in case you missed it. And ignore the fat yellow M&M right here. It has lost about 50 pounds and looks like this now. And the weight keeps coming off just slowly at a healthy rate. And we'll see where it goes. I'm trying to get back down to possibly, this might be like too much, but possibly down to my army weight. We'll see. Okay, so anyway, yeah, I would encourage you to watch this. He's talking with Rabbi Ariel with the Temple Institute. They are the ones that are actually going to do the red heifer sacrifice. And I guess the one thing that stood out to me in this interview is up until this point, everything that we've studied, everything is said that the red heifers have to be 2 years old in 1 day, which means that they're now in their 3rd year of life. Well, in this video, they were saying 1 year and a month. So that's news to me. And now Adam, and I'm not trying to like discredit him. He does a very good job. He does articles for Israel 365. He has said in the past that it was, 2 years and a day, but now in this interview, I guess it got clarified, or I don't know. So I have this spreadsheet where I've tried to track the different reports of the red heifers, and I have 3 different sources. One of them is, let's see, this one. Yeah. So 2 of these sources are from Israel 365, and then the other one is from the Israel guys. They did an interview where they were talking about the red heifers. And so I have these different groups, and basically by now, even if it's 2 years and 1 month, they're all ready except for this last one right here. Which means that I guess it wouldn't be ready until May, if it's 2 years and a month, but whatever the case, I don't know. I've seen some comments from people saying that one of them, or maybe 2 of them, have been disqualified. I haven't come across that yet. So if you have that source, article, video, whatever, please send it my way. I'd like to see that. But as far as I can tell, everything is still on for Passover. Passover is going to be in April. Let me just pull this up really quick. HebCal 2024. I should have this memorized by now. Okay, April, it's going to be from sundown on the 22nd and then go until the 30th of April. So sometime during this week, from what I've seen, from what they've said, there's been 2 different places, CBN News, and then the other one was like some Christian convention or something that they were doing where they both said it would be during Passover. So I believe it's on Passover. I know that you have the special Shabbat or Sabbath, Shabbat Para. As far as I can tell, this Sabbath is just meant to remind you when you're going to Jerusalem the next month to get purified. Okay, because you're going to if you've come in contact with the dead body, just make sure when you go to Jerusalem, you go up to Jerusalem to do the stuff during Passover, make sure to get purified. I don't think it's the day that they do the red heifer. So anyway, that's enough about the red heifer. We're talking about Orion. So I'll put the link for this in the description box below. I would encourage you to watch it. It's good. Okay, so Betelgeuse. Let's go back to the beginning. I'm going to do this like in chronological order. So the first really interesting thing about Betelgeuse is this. This is from space.com. Discovery suggests red supergiant Betelgeuse was actually yellow 2,000 years ago. Well, that's interesting, right? What happened 2,000 years ago? Okay, using historical depictions and descriptions of Betelgeuse throughout the ages, scientists have been able to pinpoint roughly when the supergiant got its red coloration. A team found that the star, located in the Orion constellation in the Milky Way, around 640 light years from Earth, changed from yellow-orange color to red approximately 2,000 years ago. I don't know about you, but that makes me think about Christ, right? We know that when he comes at the second coming, he's going to be wearing red. So it's fitting. Okay, so this is the first thing that is really interesting about this star, but there's more. Okay, so there was an event called the Great Dimming. Here's a paper called A Dusty Veil Shading Betelgeuse During Its Great Dimming. From November 2019 to March 2020, Betelgeuse, the second closest red supergiant to Earth, experienced a historic dimming of its visible brightness. Usually having an apparent magnitude, which is like brightness, between 0.1 and 1.0, its visual brightness decreased to 1.614. Okay, whatever. So it dimmed. Okay, that in English, here we have Forbes. In late 2019 and early 2020, Betelgeuse was in the headlines because of its sudden quote-unquote great dimming, during which it slumped about 40% of its usual brightness before gradually returning to normal. It also changed shape. Now, there's like a couple, I don't know if that's referring to a couple new articles that have come out about how they've realized that instead of being perfectly spherical like our sun, it has like kind of like a boiling, kind of like a boiling motion to it. I don't know if that's what they're referring to, but anyway, continuing. Although it was already known to be a variable star whose brightness shifted about 400 days in over 6 years, nothing as dramatic as its great dimming had ever been observed. So this was a big deal, the great dimming. Let's go to my second coming timeline. Okay, so look at column F where it says the great dimming. Okay, so it started sometime in November 2019, and then it went until March of 2020. Now, what's interesting about that is the next month, okay, in December 2019, that's when COVID started on the 12th of December. And I have that source right here. This is CDC. The date that they have is December 12th, 2019. It's also, excuse me, it's also reported here, Fox 17, West Michigan, December 12th. So you had the great dimming that happened just a little bit before the COVID pandemic. And then the great dimming continued until March. And March was a pretty significant year for our church. So first you have Betelgeuse that changed colors from yellow to red around the time of Christ. Now you have this great dimming, and it ends in the month. And as far as I know, this is the only time that this has happened. It ended in the month where we shut down all temples worldwide because of the pandemic, and then also called missionaries back home and limited missionary work. Okay, so that's kind of weird. Another thing that seems to be church specific. Okay, going back to this article, several theories for Betelgeuse's great dimming were put forward, including, and then there's like 3 of them, but then it says, however, images from Hubble Space Telescope confirmed that quote unquote burp from within Betelgeuse had unleashed a mass ejection of material that became a dust cloud, obscuring some of the star's brightness as seen from Earth. So it seems like that's the theory, that one is that it was a dust cloud. Okay. And then here's another depiction of the Orion constellation. Again, we're talking about this star right here, Betelgeuse. Okay. So that took place. And then you have this article. This is from the 25th of May, 2023. Okay. It's new territory. Why is Betelgeuse glowing so brightly and behaving so strangely? So now it's like brighter. I'll give you the details. One of the brightest stars in the sky is behaving strangely, pulsating from bright to dim twice as fast as usual, and giving scientists an unprecedented insight into how stars die. Betelgeuse, the closest red supergiant to Earth, has long been understood to move between brighter and dimmer in 400-day cycles. But from late 2019 to early 2020, it underwent what astrophysicists called the Great Dimming, as a dust cloud obscured our view of the star. Now, it is glowing 150% of its normal brightness, and it's cycling between brighter and dimmer at 200-day intervals, twice as fast as usual, according to astrophysicist Andrea Dupree. I hope that's how you pronounce it, of the Harvard-Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics. It is currently the 7th brightest star in the sky, up 3 places from its usual 10th brightest. Again, I have those highlighted because in Judaism, so we, in our church, we consider 7 a number of perfection and completion, but in Judaism, they look at both 7 and 10 as numbers of perfection and completion. 7 in the sense of creation, and then 10 in the mathematical sense. It's also a special number in Jewish mysticism, Kabbalah. But anyway, so you have this that took place. So first there was a great dimming, and then it was glowing really bright, and it's brighter to dimmer cycle doubled. It sped up. Okay. And now we have this. This was December 7th, 2023. Betelgeuse, one of the brightest stars in the sky, will almost disappear next week. Here's how to see it. So what took place here is you had an asteroid called 319 Leona, which obviously that's like a feminine version of lion, right? Leon, lion. So that's kind of interesting. We think of Christ as a lion. But you had this asteroid where from certain places on Earth, just like an eclipse, like a lunar or a solar eclipse, it had like a path of totality that you would have to be in order for Betelgeuse to disappear from your point of view. I did a video about this. I'm not going to go through all the details, but I found the path of totality, or the path of occultation, which is right here. I used Photoshop, and I realized that basically the path, it went through the historical territories of these major empires that are described in Daniel. You have the Babylonian Empire, starting off with the Babylonian Empire. After that, the Persian Median empires. After that, the Macedonian or Greek Empire, and then the Roman Empire. And this path of totality goes through them almost like down the middle, especially with the Roman Empire right here in purple. So if you want more details about that, I'll put the link for this video in the description box below. But this was another thing that happened. This could be significant, Orion, like if this is Orion and Betelgeuse is the shoulder of this arm that's holding this club, if there's any sort of symbolism in it, maybe, the club's about to fall on, this final beast, the 10 horns, the 10 toes, and the small, excuse me, the small horn, so on and so forth. I don't know, just a thought. Okay, so you had all that took place. So the change in color 2,000 years ago, the great dimming, and then it getting brighter in the frequency of its bright to dim cycle increasing by 2. And then you had this occultation by this asteroid, Leona. Okay, so that gets you up to speed. And now let's look at this. This is from Sky and Telescope, but there's other articles that cover it too. Is Betelgeuse fading again? And before we get into this article, if it does, if we have like another great dimming or like a similar event, well, it seems like a lot of these other things have had meaning. From my point of view, they have. Again, the last time that there was a great dimming, it accompanied the pandemic. So I don't know if something else would happen this time. They're not saying right now that it is another great dimming, but it could be. They're not sure yet. Okay. Indeed it is, but unlike the great dimming of 2019 to 2020, its waning so far has been modest. Betelgeuse, located in Orion's right shoulder, ordinarily shines at magnitude plus 0.4, a close match to neighboring Procyon in Canis Minor. But since late January, okay, so this is when this event started. But since late January, it's lost some of its luster, at least a third of a magnitude's worth. That may not sound like much, especially given the star's variable nature, but the red supergiant star is currently the faintest it's been in the past 2 years. Could it be at the threshold of another major dimming? I guess we'll have to wait and see. Later on in the article, astronomers and variable star observers have long known that Betelgeuse's light varies with a primary period of 400 days. But since the tumult of 2019 to 2020, even that pattern seems to have disappeared. Okay, so before 2019, you just had like this regular period of 400 days. Now, ever since the Great Dimming, everything's been messed up. And it coincides with the pandemic and the year 2020. Just like here on Earth, like everything's messed up since that time. That year introduced a lot of chaos into the world. All right, continuing. To our best knowledge, based on observations using the Hubble Space Telescope and others, Betelgeuse burped up a huge gas bubble that blasted more than 400 billion tons of material into space. The debris later condensed as dust that shrouded part of the star before dissipating. And then it has this visual right here of Betelgeuse's brightness, right? So you have over here, you can see the dates like down here. So this would be 2019, and here's the great dimming, this like really big dip right here, and then it comes back up, and then it goes down, and it's it looks kind of weird, and then you look over here. So look, watch my mouse. So you have like go down and up and 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 down. And right here, it's like plateaued. It kind of goes up like a little bit. So up and down and kind of up. And now it's like really going down. So, I mean, from my point of view, just as a layman, that doesn't seem normal. That seems kind of weird. And, yeah. Okay. So witnessing stellar evolution from your backyard is a thrill. So I hope you'll cast a glance at Betelgeuse every clear night you can. It remains accessible for Northern Hemisphere sky watchers through mid-April, which that's kind of interesting. That's when it like disappears from our view. There's a lot of things coming together in April, I'm telling you. And for Southern Hemisphere viewers through mid-May. What does this pivotal star have up its sleeve, I wonder? And then that's how it ends. And then it talks about eclipses after that. So I'm just like fascinated by this star. I hope that it dimming like this doesn't bring some other pandemic or major catastrophe or war or something like that, but it could. And I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if it did. Would you? I don't know. It's just, it's so weird. Like I said, it feels like on a symbolic level, it feels like this star has been used for specific signs for the church. Again, let's look at it this way this time. Let's go to my spreadsheet. This is my signs space general spreadsheet. And the ones that I have in yellow, I have that from that previous video that I did where ever since President Nelson said, in coming days, we'll see the greatest manifestations of the Savior's power the world has ever seen, which I believe is both spiritual and temporal. I think that there's a lot of miracles and things taking place, and the church, like just look at what happened with the Kirtland Temple, and who knows what's in the near future. So things like that, individually at a church level, but I think also in nature, in this case in space. Ever since he said that, 7 days later, we literally saw the most powerful explosion ever recorded by modern instruments. It was gamma ray burst GRB 221009A, which is a result of a supernova, the largest explosion we ever saw after the prophet said that. And we've had a bunch of other really powerful events. I have Betelgeuse shining 150% its usual brightness right here. We also have May 2023 most powerful solar flare ever recorded on a different star, V1355 Orionis. In October, Vela pulsar, highest ever energy from gamma rays from a pulsar discovered. And then in February, there was a paper published that says universe's brightest object discovered, quasar J0529-4351. Fastest or brightest and fastest growing quasar. So we've seen a lot of really powerful, big, bright things in space ever since President Nelson said that. So that's what's highlighted in the yellow. And then in column A, these aren't new. I'm just using this column. If it's in black, this has to do with Betelgeuse. So again, this doesn't go back to the year 1 AD. But we have Christ, right? Betelgeuse changed its color from yellow-orange to red around the time of Christ. So I feel like that's symbolic. We have the great dimming that it did coincide with the pandemic. And it ended in the month that all the temples were shut down and missionary work was disrupted. Okay, and then we have Betelgeuse shining 150% its usual brightness. I don't have an exact date on that, but it is interesting that happened, or this was reported, or that it happened in April. Excuse me. Well, no, yeah. Here's the reports right here. I have it in the reference, May and June, so they must have said April. I'd have to go back and double check. But in April, April and October, those are special months. That's when we have General Conference, and it's like there's this correspondence between the restored church. We have April and October general conferences that also kind of harken back to the Jewish feast days in a way. You have the spring feasts that usually take place in April, and then the fall feasts that go back and forth between September and October. But okay, so whatever. So you had this happen, and then we have Betelgeuse that was occulted by asteroid 319 Leona. So you have the symbol of a lion there. And then, like I said, it went through essentially the heartland, I guess you could say, of these major empires that have persecuted the saints and are described in Daniel's vision and Nebuchadnezzar's dream. And then let's go back here. And then that's, I didn't add this newest thing on here. I'll need to do that. That's going to be the next entry. 2024. I guess for right now I'll put January, and then I'll do this later. So, but I'll put the black thing right there. So, it feels like there's so much going on. I feel like these are pretty church specific. And just so you know, I have another spreadsheet called Signs, Church Specific, where, and there's a lot. There are so many, and I know that I don't have everything, but, for example, the tornado, well, it's down here, the tornado in downtown Salt Lake City. I've done videos about that. You have the Utah-Wyoming derecho that took place the day after President Ezra Taft Benson passed away, and it was very unusual. Flooding in downtown Salt Lake. So don't ask me to elaborate right now. You'll just have to look these up and, find the video where I talked about these. You can just do a search. Do a search on my channel and put in some of these keywords. The Nauvoo derecho that happened last year. There was a miracle that took place where there was a youth group that was doing a pioneer trek, and they got to safety just in time. And I interviewed a local from there, Elaine. So make sure to check out. So anyway, so many things that seem to be specifically for our church, and it makes sense. And I feel like Betelgeuse, what it's doing, is specific to our church. So, okay, well, that's it for this one. If you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe, like this video if you liked it, leave your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Also, make sure to share it, and I'll talk to you guys later.